Hello, welcome to today's video. I hope you're having a wonderful day today, and if you're not, I hope this video can bring you a little bit of comfort. So I've already filmed this video actually. I recorded my 2023 advice video, but I think it's coming after this one where I explained the same thing. I had a thumb drive that held like 4 videos I recorded back in December, and I planned on editing for January to come out at least once a week. However, the thumb drive got corrupted and I lost all the files, and so here I am refilming it because I like this idea. I swear I had this idea before Destiny Sidwell and Sarah Crowley did. I had it back in November. You saw it in my It Starts With Us reading vlog, and I didn't hear or see this anywhere else, and then all of a sudden everyone's doing it, so I'm like, great. And then I've been having all these technical difficulties. Everyone's gonna think I copied all the big booktubers, but I swear I had this idea first. Ugh. Yeah, I hope you enjoy this video, and let's just get right into it. So I read 30 books this year. I would have read 31, but Pride and Prejudice has taken me a bit longer than I'd like to admit, and so yeah, I thought it'd be fun to go through and rank all of them. So I'm going to put the star rating somewhere on the screen whenever as I'm talking about the book. However, the rating does not correspond to where it will be ranked, because I tried to rate books individually based on my reading experience with that book and how I felt about that book. But now that I'm ranking them, I'm going to be comparing them, so that would be different. And I also have manga in here because I read manga this year, and one nonfiction book. Manga is really difficult for me to rank because it doesn't even feel like the stories don't feel like the same level as a lot of books, especially because a lot of these are in series. And then again, like the individual book itself, like the first book in the series or the third book in the series, it's really difficult for me to just pick one over the other, especially once you see what I'm talking about. But I put them on here, so I'm gonna figure it out, and I hope you enjoy it. Here we are. Harry Potter Chamber Secrets. We're off to a great start because I'm not gonna do that one first. Or a manga first. Because I have thoughts on Harry Potter, thoughts that people don't agree with. Or specifically the second book. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Oh, I didn't even go through the ranks. 1 minute. So we have Make the Clock Reverse from like Tangled, you know, like I wish I could read this book for the first time. It was so good. I love it. I want to relive it. Almost There from Princess and the Frog. This book was almost perfect, but it was just missing that little oomph. If you want to think of the mom from Despicable Me when she's like, That's how I feel about this book. These books were decent. Like, I may have liked these books, but they just weren't like special or anything. Like, I'm not gonna be raving about these books. I might. We'll figure it out. I feel like a lot of manga is gonna go here, not because it's bad, but because comparatively to like other fiction books I read, they would rank like that. But we'll figure it out. Rough Draft. The books that are going in this section are such a hot take, but we gotta go back to the drawing board, babe. In my non-professional opinion, there was just a lot of things that could be worked on in these books. And then why does this exist? There's only one book that's coming in this section. I feel like that's pretty straightforward. I feel like, honestly, we have deforestation happening everywhere. Trees, the earth, environmentalists would appreciate it if the paper wasn't spent on this book. So the first book is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I did love this book. I often forget that I read this book, but when I remember it, I loved it. I loved this book so much. So I think I'm gonna do and Make the Clock Reverse, because it was such a good mystery book. I liked how everything played out. I oddly like stories where if I try to explain it to other people, I seem crazy because the plot is so difficult. Like, those are my favorite kind of stories, and that's how I feel with this one. And there's a lot of like time loops, so if you're into like time travel-y type things, or things where like parallel universes, things like that, this is a good book. And it's like a murder mystery. Okay, I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. is a great manga. I love it. I like the movie and the book. I might make a comparison video of the two. I want to make a comparison video for Silent Voice and the movie, but I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, the movie definitely added scenes and stuff to make the main character's relationship seem more romantic than it actually was, and I kind of liked the manga more for the fact that it didn't, and it made their relationship ambivalent. Or is it ambivalent or ambivalent? Well, let's just say blurred. It made their relationship blurred between romantic and platonic, so I enjoyed the manga a bit more for that. Verity, I don't know, like I wish I liked Verity more than I did, but I think it was because I did have it a bit spoiled. I will say I am team letter. I'm not ashamed to say that. Is it eh or almost there? I'm gonna say eh. I feel like it's probably top of eh, but it's eh. And I did read the bonus chapter. Everyone's crazy. I didn't like the romantic relationship, and it just didn't feel, it just felt weird while reading it. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I could elaborate on that. Animal Farm. I loved Animal Farm. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I think it's a great classic, and it's actually an easier read than a lot of people be expecting. It's only 10 chapters, and it's kind of entertaining and very funny. I annotated it with like, okay, gaslight, gatekeep, manipulate, girl boss. Like, the pigs and animals in this book were wildin', but I don't think it's probably a favorite. Should I put in almost there? No. I'll put in eh. Silent Patient is going to make the clock reverse. It's a great book, and no one can convince me otherwise. I loved Silent Patient so much. I loved his writing style. I want to read The Maidens by him. So good. Lucy Foley, I'm gonna put an eh. I'm gonna do the Family Liars. Is Family Liars almost there? I want to put that in eh too. Do I? I know I've already ranked these, but I don't remember how I ranked them. And I'm trying to be as genuine as I can right now. Which one do I like more, the Paris Department or Family Liars? Why is my brain going blank? I think I like the Paris Department a bit more. No, maybe I liked Family Liars more. Okay, Family Liars. I love We Were Liars. We Were Liars had me sobbing. Family Liars is just the prequel to that book. And E. Lockhart's writing style is very short and riddle-ish. I don't even know if that's a word, but it's almost like riddles, like a double entendre. Every word can have a double meaning, and I like that. I feel like if I was an author, my writing style would be kind of similar to that. The Paris Department felt almost exactly like the Family Liars to me. The writing style was similar, except for the fact it was almost more descriptive riddles, so the sentences were longer, but like the families were very similar in both of these. The dynamics. Actually, I'm gonna put Family Liars in A. It didn't feel like there was any real build up, and then it fell flat, and then so this follows the moms of the characters from We Were Liars, and I feel like some of the things I were describing the moms in this one just weren't brought up in We Were Liars, and I didn't like that. Mob Psycho 100, I might put in almost there. The fact that I'm gonna put it above Animal Farm, The Paris Department, Verity, and Family Liars, because I enjoyed this book so much more than I thought I would. I got this book as a gift from Genevieve, and I like haven't seen the show. I didn't think I was gonna like it, and the art style is a bit different, but I ended up loving it so much. You know what? I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna skip The Summer I Turned Pretty, because I got some opinions on that. It Ends With Us, Make the Clock Reverse. I love that book. Not much else to be said. It's a great book. Late to the Party was also eh. This was the first LGBTQ plus book I read, and it was fine. It just felt flat, I guess. Like, it didn't feel deep. It just felt surface level. And I could relate to things that were happening in this book, but then overall, like, I haven't thought about it much since. It just felt like it was like the problems weren't really problems, and then they were solved easily. November 9th is going in Make the Clock Reverse. I read this as I was recovering from my wisdom teeth removal, like, it distracted me from all the pain. It was so good. This book is in competition with It Ends With Us for being my favorite Colleen Hoover book. And honestly, I love It Ends With Us for it's such an advocate book for women and domestic abuse. But November 9th is so good that honestly, I'm a little tempted to switch, like, make November 9th my favorite Colleen Hoover book. And I'm gonna do ranking Colleen Hoover books sometime in the future. I just want to read more of her books before I do it, because I've only read 4 or 5. Okay, Reminders of Him, I'll say I was almost there. I honestly forget about Reminders of Him, and when I remember it, I don't feel as sad as I was when I first read it. I don't know if it's just because it was my first Colleen Hoover book or what. And I often forget about the main book boyfriend, Ledger, but he was great. And I made a whole reading vlog about this. Like, it was a good book, but I often forget about it, and it doesn't leave me with as much of an impact as other books have. Like, I can't, like, November 9th will always ruin me. That day will always be forever marked out on my calendar. But Reminders of Him, like, I don't know, I honestly just forget about it at times. Or maybe it's just because a lot of it I, like, predicted as I was reading, or some of it just felt random. There were a couple things in here that just felt random and, like, unresolved. So I just moved It's Not Summer Without You out of the way because, again, I'm probably gonna do this summer I Turned Pretty series last because I have hot takes. The Prisoner of Heaven is the 3rd book in the Cemetery of Forgotten Books series, which is, again, The Shadow of the Wind. Let me just bring it up to make the clock reverse. All-time favorite book. Made a video, talked about my core memories, made a video on all the books I bought while on a book buying ban. Shadow of the Wind is my all-time favorite book. I love it so much. I will keep talking about it until I'm blue in the face. Prisoner of Heaven is the 3rd book in the series, so it follows my all-time favorite side character, Fermin de Torres. I think that's his name. It's basically a flashback of his life before he entered in the 1st book and how he was actually connected to the main character in the 1st book. And I love him. I love his character so much. I think people need to look at him for side characters and secondary characters and base theirs around how his is written. Maybe not his character per se, but how his character actually adds meaning to the story, but he's not a main character. Right? Because I just can't stand side characters that are just like NPCs in books. NPCs is a non-playable character in a video game, and they just kind of exist, but they don't do much to the plot. I can't stand that. I want people who affect the main characters, who make them grow, who make them develop, who leave interesting, long-lasting thoughts, who don't just exist because we needed to reach word count. No. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Honestly, this book is eh. This book was eh. And The Prisoner of Azkaban was almost there. I will say, I'm making a video of a reading vlog of me reading the Harry Potter series because I've never read them. I have seen, like, the last movie, but I'm trying to read them before I watch movies. I'm gonna make a couple videos on me reading them, me comparing them, whatever. And it's been taking me over a year, and I just got through 3 books. And I think it's just because the first few books in the series feel like they're written for a younger audience than myself, and so I'm really having a difficult time getting into them. The whole, like, first few chapters, and every time a new character is introduced or reintroduced in the series, it just feels like we're going through a giant explanation of something I already know. Like, Harry Potter lives with his aunt and uncle on 4 Privet Drive. Like, he has a lightning bolt scar on his forehead all the time, and it's really frustrating. The 2nd book, all I really remember was the ending. Like, the whole middle plot is gone in my head. The Prisoner of Azkaban was pretty good though. I did enjoy it. I did like when Sirius and Harry had their little moment, and I almost did start crying. And I will say J.K. Rowling does write books in a good way where it feels like almost like a mystery, where they do mini quests throughout the book, and then in the end it all builds up to this big reveal, and I do like that. The Angels game is so good too. Is it almost there? It might be there. Make the clock reverse. The Cemetery of Forgotten Books is such a good series for the fact that each book could be read as a standalone. You can really read the book and the series in any order, and it's fine. And the Angels game is such a different vibe compared to the first one. The first one's like gothic, dark academia. The second book is technically a prequel, but the whole world building in the second book just changes everything, and then the third book kind of just explains it away and wipes it away. It's such like a hysteria, like a manic episode, manic dream. I love the second book a lot, actually. It's so good. So I'm gonna put it in Make the Clock Reverse. The Way of the House Husband, one of my favorite manga that I'm currently collecting. I don't know how to rank these. I think I enjoyed the second one more than the first, but they almost feel a bit equal to me. I just put them both in A. You weren't almost there. I forget which one I thought was funnier, but it's just a hilarious, short, like easy slice of life of a guy who was the leader of the Yakuza and ended up leaving just to become a house husband, and so everyone still sees him as like this gang leader, and all he wants to do is like stay at home, cook for his wife, for his working wife, and then like post cute Instagram pictures of the food he made. Like, he's so precious. One Piece, I'm gonna put an A, just because I've already seen the anime. Well, I've watched like 300 episodes of the anime. The anime has over 1,000, and it's just the first book, so it's very introductory, nothing too special to it. Republican Rescue was a great book for the fact that I got to meet Chris Christie. I know. With Incubate Debate, we read books from politicians or just well-known people in our government, and we got to meet them. And meeting Chris Christie was really cool. He's a very down-to-earth, like genuine guy, and very upfront and honest and reasonable, very reasonable. And so reading this book, it surprised me as a book for being like Republican Rescue, so saving the Republican Party. Yeah, it was very moderate in a lot of cases, and so I did enjoy it. And I'm only placing an A just because it is a nonfiction book, and it's not like a book that I'm going to think about or recommend compared to these other fiction books, but it is not an A book at all. It is a very good book. Is this Orange Future? Orange Future is almost there, and Orange 2 is eh. Orange Future, I can't even describe it. When I first recorded this, I tried to describe it, but it is basically these group of friends get letters from their future selves to save their other friend who basically in the future timeline, he unalives himself, and so they write them letters on things to do or not do to prevent him from doing this and to help him out. And Orange Future basically describes how the characters got to the original timeline and how a couple got together and how they fell in love, whereas once they saved their friend from unaliving himself in a different timeline, that couple doesn't get together, and the guy like keeps his feelings to himself basically, and it was so sad to me. It was so sad. It starts with S. I'm gonna say almost there, just because it is a nice fun epilogue. Don't want to talk about it too much since I have a reading vlog on it, but it is a nice fun epilogue for Lily and Atlas, and it was just like that's a easy comfort read for someone. Like if you just want a good book just to reread and like have a happy ending, that's a good book. Haiku, the first one, again probably putting an eh just because it's the first one in the series, but I do like Haiku. I've seen it. I think I'm halfway through the last season, didn't finish it, or second to last season, didn't finish it, but I like Haiku. Moments like this is a rough draft. I'll say it, it's a rough draft. It needs to be fixed. There were only moments in the book that I liked, pun intended. And the climax felt contrived. I did think the ending, there was like a little reveal in the end that was kind of cute and added to a character that was talked about once, but I didn't see the issue with the climax, like the conflict, and I wasn't impacted by it at all. Again, it just felt surface level. I was like, why is this a problem? Like, why are we upset right now? Stalking Jack the Ripper, Make the Clock Reverse. I read this. I had a debate tournament that I was prepping for, and instead of being on my phone in between breaks while researching, I read this book. Like, this book was so good, we're reading it was a break for me. It was so good. I love Audrey Rose and all the books I bought on a book buying ban. This whole series, I bought it. I'm really excited to read it and finish it. Her and Thomas Cresswell are fantastic. So The Summer I Turned Pretty is a rough draft. I know. I think that one's my favorite in the trilogy. I like Jenny Han's writing in To All the Boys I Loved Before, but I don't know what it is with this one where I don't like the characters, I don't like the romance, I don't like the love triangle. The main character, she isn't likable at all. She's toxic, who she likes is toxic, who she ends up with is toxic. There's a love triangle between two brothers, and there were just like certain things, especially with the main character's relationship with her mom, I felt like could have been grown and developed better, especially throughout the trilogy, and things that were hinted at that I wished were brought up more. I love character development in books, and I didn't experience that at all. The relationships didn't develop at all. It's Not Summer Without You, it was a book that took place over 4 days. The other 2 books take place over summer, and I think the other one takes place during the summer, like a few months. So this second book took place in 4 days. The issue was resolved super quickly, and all it did was cause like unnecessary drama, and there was like nothing fixed, no development, nothing. Everything stayed how it was, nothing changed. This book, you constantly go from the first book to the third book and not notice the difference. And the thing that hurts the most about this series is the fact that I like the show more than the book, which if you don't know, that doesn't often happen with book to movie adaptations. We'll always have summer. It was a rough draft. The twists that happen, the things that changes some characters, it just needed to be rewritten. Why Does This Exist goes there. Pretty good with that. I think Republican Rescue is gonna go at the bottom of but again, not because it's an book, just because comparatively not that great. Chamber of Secrets is going near the back. The manga is going near the back. I liked Haiku more than One Piece. I guess I like Chamber of Secrets more than Haiku. I liked Orange 2 more. I love The Way of the House Husband. Whew. Actually, I liked The Way of the House Husband more than Harry Potter. I liked it more than Late to the Party. Maybe not that much. Verity. Animal Farm could definitely go near the top of The Paris Apartment versus Verity. Ooh, that's difficult. I think I liked Verity more. Family Liars and The Paris Apartment. No, I'm gonna say I like The Family Liars more. Yep, pretty good with that row. Almost there. We'll put this back here. We'll say that goes there. It Starts With Us versus Prisoner of Heaven. No, Prisoner of Heaven's going near the top of this. Mob Psycho. Do I like Mob Psycho more than Prisoner of Azkaban? No. But I did enjoy I enjoyed it more than The Way of House Husband. It Starts With Us versus Reminders of Him. I'm gonna leave it like this, just because again, It Starts With Us is kind of more of an epilogue-y, whereas Reminders of Him feels like it's its own story. Shadow of the Wind obviously is going near number 1. It Ends With Us versus The Silent Patient. Now that's difficult. That's difficult. I think I liked The Silent Patient more. Yeah, we'll put The Silent Patient there. November 9th isn't going to cross it yet. Not yet. 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle is a favorite, but I liked Stalking Jack the Ripper a bit more. And then I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. Ooh, Angel's Game. It's not gonna go second for the year, is it? I think it could go third. Yeah, so if you start in this corner and you just go down rows, you'll see my official ranking for all the books. And yeah, this is probably a longer video than I wanted it to be. And thankfully, I only read 30 books, so I was able to talk about them a bit more. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really excited for this next year. I want to read more, of course, and if I could beat 30, that'd be fantastic. If I can't, that's fine. Let me know how many books you read in the comments down below. Don't forget to check out my description box and follow all my social media, and I hope you have a wonderful day today. The pigeon, I do laugh about the pigeon randomly and like no one understands what I'm talking about. Great, please don't say it stopped the recording. Okay, still recording. Woo! Ow, I got a cramp in my leg. Ow, I was getting so heated. Okay.